The year was 2089 and the world was full of technology, power, and pride. People believed they had reached the peak of knowledge. Cities floated on oceans, sky towers touched the clouds, and robots worked beside humans. But on one quiet morning, everything changed. The sky, once blue and peaceful, turned red like fire. Satellites picked up a massive object entering Earth's atmosphere, moving faster than anything built by man. For a few minutes, it looked like a new moon had appeared in the sky. Then it began to fall. The whole world saw it. The news spread faster than light. Some thought it was a meteor. Others said it was a secret weapon. But when the object slowed down as if controlled, everyone knew it was something alive or something made by someone else. People ran into the streets looking up in shock and fear. Governments sent fighter jets, but their weapons were useless. The object, a dark and burning shape, passed above the clouds with a loud roar that shook the ground. Then, with a final flash of blue light, it crashed into the middle of the Pacific Ocean. The impact sent waves hundreds of feet high, drowning small islands and shaking cities on the coast. At first, no one knew what it was. For 2 days, the sky over the ocean glowed faintly. Satellites couldn't take clear images. Something inside the crash site was blocking every signal. The world waited, afraid to move. Then a message came from the United Nations. They called it Operation Deepfall, a mission to find out what had fallen from the sky. Nations that were enemies joined hands out of fear. The US, China, Russia, and the European Union sent their best ships, scientists, and divers. Among them was Dr. Elena Navarro, a brilliant astrophysicist from Spain. She had studied alien signals for years, though no one believed her. Now she was standing on the deck of a Navy ship, staring at the black smoke rising from the ocean. When the divers finally went down, what they saw left them speechless. Beneath the waves lay a massive structure miles wide. It wasn't made of metal known to man. It shimmered like liquid glass and pulsed with faint light like it was breathing. It was a ship, but not a human one. After weeks of work, cranes and submarines lifted parts of the wreck to the surface. The world watched live broadcasts as alien symbols appeared on the panels. Scientists from every nation studied them, trying to understand the language. When they finally opened one of the chambers, they found bodies. Tall, gray-skinned creatures with armor that looked alive. Some were still strapped to their seats. Others were floating inside broken pods filled with glowing blue liquid. It became clear. This ship had come from another world. It had fought a battle somewhere in space and lost. The damage wasn't from a crash. It was from energy weapons. Holes burned through the hull as if by lasers. The aliens had tried to escape and crashed here by mistake. Some scientists believed they had been chased by another enemy. Dr. Navarro entered the ship for the first time on a cold morning in December. Inside, everything was silent, but it didn't feel empty. The corridors were lined with strange patterns glowing faintly when touched. Machines still hummed in the background, alive after all this time. She walked through rooms that looked like laboratories, hangars, and weapon bays. The deeper she went, the stronger she felt the air vibrating, like a heart still beating. In the command chamber, she found something that made her breath stop. A console still active, showing symbols spinning in the air. Her translator program couldn't decode them completely, but one message repeated over and over again. Warning. Pursued. Cannot escape. Do not follow. When she shared this with the UN Council, panic spread. If this ship had been running away, that meant there was something out there. Something strong enough to defeat them. But some leaders refused to believe. They wanted to focus on the technology, not the warning. They saw the crashed ship as a treasure, a gift from the stars. Meanwhile, strange things began to happen near the crash site. Divers reported seeing lights under the ocean, as if something was still moving in the wreck. A few went missing. One drone sent to record inside suddenly stopped working, but before the feed cut, it showed a door closing by itself. Some thought the ship was still alive, reacting to the humans exploring it. Despite these dangers, the study continued. Engineers began removing parts of the ship to learn how it worked. The energy core was unlike anything on Earth. It used something they called dark fusion, a reaction between energy and gravity. If they could master it, it would change human civilization forever. But Dr. Navarro wasn't convinced this was safe. She had seen enough strange readings to know that the ship's systems weren't dead. They were waiting. One night, while checking the ship's data logs, she found a set of recordings stored deep in the memory core. They weren't visual, only sound and fragments of translation. It was the alien crew's final transmission. The voice was distorted but filled with fear. The words, half translated, said something like, "They found us. Their vengeance will reach your world. Hide what remains." Dr. Navarro realized the aliens hadn't crashed by accident. They had crashed on purpose. They wanted to hide their technology on Earth, away from their enemies. That meant one thing. Sooner or later, whoever they were running from would come looking. But when she brought this to the UN, no one wanted to listen. The leaders were already making plans to use the alien materials for military purposes. They believed that whoever these aliens were, humanity could use their own power against them. Dr. Navarro felt a deep fear growing in her heart. She began secretly copying the data, hoping to keep it safe before it was twisted into a weapon. Months passed. The world slowly began to move on. News channels lost interest, calling the ship the Fallen Star. The governments kept most of the real information hidden, but Dr. Navarro stayed on the island base, studying every symbol, every recording. She started to dream about the ship, metal corridors glowing blue, voices whispering in languages she couldn't understand. Sometimes she woke up hearing the same warning in her head: "Do not follow." One stormy night, while she was working inside the ship's main chamber, the power in the entire facility went out. The air turned cold and the blue lights of the ship flickered on by themselves. The consoles began showing new symbols, ones she hadn't seen before. Then, through the static on her radio, she heard a deep echoing sound, like a heartbeat mixed with a whisper. The ship was speaking again, but this time the translation came out clearly on her tablet. "We failed. They will come. Prepare your world." The message repeated again and again until the power came back. Dr. Navarro fell to her knees, shaking. The warship was more than a wreck. It was a warning left behind by a dying civilization. She knew that humanity wouldn't listen until it was too late. The politicians only cared about power, not danger. The scientists were blinded by curiosity. The military wanted revenge for a war that hadn't even begun. As she looked at the massive alien ship under the floodlights, half buried in the sand, she realized that this wasn't the end of something. It was the beginning. The day the sky fell silent was the day humanity stepped into a war they didn't yet understand. The world thought it had discovered alien technology, but in truth, it had found a ghost of war, a message written in fire and blood across the stars. Dr. Navarro stood at the edge of the ocean that night, watching the waves crash against the dark shape of the fallen ship. Lightning flashed across the sky, and for a moment, she imagined she saw figures standing on its deck, tall, gray, and silent, watching her, as if waiting for something. She didn't know if it was imagination or memory left behind in the ship's walls, but she knew one thing for sure. The aliens hadn't just left a broken warship. They had left behind a challenge, and humanity, curious and proud as ever, had just accepted it without knowing the price they would pay. That night, as thunder rolled over the ocean, Dr. Navarro whispered to herself, "We should have never opened it." But it was already too late. The ship had awakened, and the story of humanity's revenge had just begun. After the alien warship was found, the whole world changed. Governments became obsessed with it. Scientists could not sleep, and people on the streets whispered about what it meant. The wreck of the alien ship had been moved to a special base built in the Pacific Ocean. They called it Project Lazarus. Every country wanted to be part of it, but none trusted the other. It was supposed to be a project for humanity's future, but soon it became a project of greed, fear, and competition. Dr. Elena Navarro still worked there. She had been one of the first to step inside the alien warship, and she was the only one who truly understood the danger it carried. To her, the ship was not a gift, it was a warning. But to the politicians and military generals, it was a treasure chest full of power. Every nation sent its own spies disguised as scientists. Meetings were full of arguments, shouting, and accusations. Some believed the ship could help build weapons powerful enough to control the world. Others wanted to use it for energy, medicine, or space travel. Years passed, but progress was slow. The alien technology was too advanced. Human machines could not copy it. The materials of the ship were stronger than any metal on Earth. They repaired themselves when damaged. The energy core was still partly active, but no one could control it. Every time scientists tried to access it, strange things happened. Tools melted, electric systems went crazy, and once a small explosion destroyed an entire lab. 3 people died that day. Yet instead of stopping, the leaders ordered them to go faster. Dr. Navarro tried to warn them. She showed them the alien message she had found earlier, the one that said they will return. But the council ignored her. "We don't even know who they are," one general said. "And if they come, we'll use their own weapons against them." That was the beginning of humanity's broken dream. Outside the official project, corporations began stealing parts of the alien ship. A few months later, pieces of alien technology started appearing on the black market. Rich businessmen paid huge amounts for them. Some claimed to have made new energy devices from the alien materials, but many of these experiments ended in disaster. A company in Japan tried to power a city using alien crystal fragments. The result was a massive explosion that destroyed half the city's energy grid. People began to call these accidents ghost fires. Still, the world was addicted. The idea that humans could become as powerful as aliens was too tempting to ignore. Everyone wanted a piece of the fallen warship. Dr. Navarro grew more and more worried. She had spent countless nights studying the ship's symbols, and she realized something frightening. The ship had been designed to connect with living beings. It used biological signals, brainwaves, to operate. It was not just a machine. It was a living weapon that responded to emotion, thought, and intent. That meant if humanity tried to control it without understanding it, it could react like a living creature, angry and unpredictable. One day, while Dr. Navarro was working inside the research dome, a group of engineers came to show her something. They had found a hidden chamber deep inside the ship's wreck. Inside was a large crystal sphere glowing faintly blue, surrounded by alien markings. They believed it was the ship's heart, its memory core. When they tried to move it, the lights in the base flickered and everyone heard a low hum, like a heartbeat. The machine started to record strange energy spikes that matched human brain patterns. It was as if the ship was reading their minds. The UN ordered the chamber to be sealed, but Dr. Navarro couldn't stop thinking about it. She knew the core was dangerous, yet she also knew it contained answers, maybe even a way to understand who had built the ship and why they had died. Late one night, she sneaked back to the chamber with her assistant, Amir, a young Pakistani engineer who shared her curiosity. Together, they activated a scanner and began decoding the symbols. After hours of work, the holograms projected above the crystal, showing scenes that took their breath away. They saw a battle in space. Hundreds of alien ships fighting against a darker, larger fleet. Planets burned, stars exploded, and one ship, the same kind that had crashed on Earth, was hit and went spinning into the void. Then came a message, this time translated more clearly. "Hide what remains. They will not stop until all light fades. Protect the seed." Dr. Navarro didn't understand what the seed meant, but she knew it was important. She copied the data secretly and stored it in a private drive. A few days later, she was called to a meeting. The military had found out she was working outside the approved protocols. They suspended her from the project. The general said she was becoming too emotional, but the truth was they were afraid of what she might expose. Heartbroken, Dr. Navarro packed her things and left the ocean base. Before leaving, Amir handed her a small data chip. "This is what we decoded that night," he whispered. "Keep it safe. One day we'll need it." When she returned to Spain, the world outside had already changed. Rumors about alien technology had spread everywhere. The economy was collapsing as countries fought over control of the alien materials. There were protests in cities, accusing governments of hiding the truth. Some groups even began worshipping the aliens as gods, believing their return would bring salvation, not destruction. Dr. Navarro lived quietly for a while, teaching at a small university, but she could not forget what she had seen. She kept studying the data Amir gave her. The deeper she went, the more she realized that the alien warship had sent one last signal before crashing. That signal had not just gone into space. It had reached deep into Earth's own systems, connecting to satellites, communications, and even human DNA experiments. It was as if the ship had left behind a seed of its own consciousness. Then came a shock that changed everything. 20 years after the crash, new readings appeared in space. A cluster of objects was moving toward the solar system at high speed. Astronomers first thought they were asteroids, but soon they discovered energy signatures, the same as the crashed ship. The aliens, or something related to them, were coming back. Governments panicked again. They revived Project Lazarus. Dr. Navarro was called back. Her hair was now gray, her face older, but her eyes still sharp. She returned to the base and found it completely changed. The once broken warship had been rebuilt piece by piece. Giant towers of alien metal surrounded it. Thousands of workers moved like ants. The nations that once fought were now cooperating, but not out of trust, out of fear. They wanted to finish what they had started years ago. The goal was to make the alien warship fly again, but this time under human control. They called it Operation Rebirth. Dr. Navarro was shocked to see how much progress they had made using alien blueprints. Human engineers had learned to merge alien energy with Earth's technology. The ship was no longer just alien. It was a hybrid. But as she walked through the laboratories, she saw something that made her uneasy. They were using human test subjects to link with the ship's systems. Some volunteers had died. Others lost their minds. The ship's AI was too powerful. It connected to their brains, showing them visions they couldn't handle. Some screamed about seeing cities burning, stars dying, and voices whispering from the dark. Dr. Navarro begged the commanders to stop, but they refused. "We don't have time," said Commander Rafiq Singh, the new leader of the project. "If those things out there are really coming, we need to be ready." Days turned into months as the ship grew stronger. For the first time, humanity had created something that could rival the aliens who had once terrified them. But Dr. Navarro couldn't shake the feeling that the ship itself remembered. Every time she walked past its hull, she heard faint sounds, whispers like breathing, or maybe distant voices calling her name. One night, while reviewing the data, she found a strange file hidden deep in the system, one that no human had created. It was a message in the alien language, newly written. Her computer translated it slowly. "We see you. You woke what we left asleep. They will follow." Her hands shook. The ship was communicating again. It knew they were rebuilding it, and it knew what was coming. She rushed to warn the commanders, but they laughed. They said she was imagining things. But deep inside, Dr. Navarro felt the truth. Humanity was not rebuilding a ship. They were awakening something that had been resting, waiting, remembering. She looked at the massive alien warship glowing under the floodlights, its dark hull reflecting the stars. Humanity thought it had captured alien power, but in reality it had invited the storm. The broken dream of unity, peace, and progress had turned into a desperate race for survival. And somewhere in the distance, in the dark of space, the ones who had destroyed the original alien ship were already on their way. 20 years had passed since the alien warship crashed on Earth, and the world had changed beyond recognition. Cities had become taller, skies filled with airships, and the ocean bases built for Project Lazarus now looked like floating fortresses. Humanity had learned a lot from the alien wreck, but they had also lost much in the process: peace, trust, and unity. The old nations were gone, replaced by a single global alliance known as the United Earth Defense, or UED. It was not born out of friendship, but out of fear. In the year 2110, astronomers detected strange readings near Mars. At first, they thought it was a meteor shower, but the patterns were too regular. The objects were moving in formation like a fleet. When the signals grew stronger, Dr. Elena Navarro, who was now 70, was called back once again. Her name had become legend. She was known as the woman who had first touched the alien ship, the one who had warned everyone that they would return. When she saw the data, she felt her heart grow heavy. The energy signatures matched perfectly with the ones from the crashed alien ship. It meant that whoever had destroyed that ship before was back. And this time, they were coming straight for Earth. The files she had kept for decades, the recordings of the aliens' final message, were now the only proof of what was happening. The aliens were called the Vorkon Dominion, a powerful race that conquered and destroyed entire civilizations. They had wiped out the ones who had built the ship that crashed on Earth, and now they had found where it fell. The United Earth Defense had no choice. The alien fleet was still months away, but humanity had to prepare. Their greatest weapon was the one they had rebuilt from the old wreck, the massive warship that now floated proudly in the Pacific base. Its alien design had been reshaped with human engineering. Its hull was black and silver, marked with glowing blue lines. Its engines burned with alien energy, and its new human-built weapons were more powerful than anything Earth had ever created. They named it the Vengeance of Earth. It was a symbol of everything humanity had suffered, learned, and become. But the ship wasn't just a weapon, it was a message to the universe. Humanity would no longer hide. Commander Rafiq Singh, a calm but brave officer from India, was chosen to lead the mission. He had spent half his life studying the alien ship, and he knew every detail of its system. He was known for his discipline, his compassion, and his courage. When he first walked on the bridge of the Vengeance of Earth, the crew stood in silence, feeling the weight of history. Dr. Navarro stood beside him, older but still sharp, her silver hair tied neatly, her eyes full of both pride and fear. She had helped design the ship's new AI, a hybrid intelligence created from human coding and the alien ship's remaining systems. It was called Erebos, and it was unlike any AI before. It could think, learn, and even feel to some extent. Some engineers feared it, but Dr. Navarro believed it was the only way to truly control the alien technology. The first tests were astonishing. The ship moved faster than any human craft. It could disappear from radar, change direction instantly, and fire energy beams that could melt steel. It had shields powered by gravity itself. Humanity had built something that could fight back. But there was a dark side to the technology. Every time the ship powered up, strange energy readings appeared around it. Machines glitched, lights flickered, and sometimes the crew heard whispers through the communication systems, voices speaking in the alien language that no one had yet fully decoded. Erebos sometimes answered those whispers as if recognizing them. Dr. Navarro kept this a secret from the military. She didn't want them to shut the system down. Weeks passed as the fleet trained in space. Humanity's new ships, built using fragments of alien metal, were ready for battle. Yet everyone knew that the real strength lay in the Vengeance of Earth. It was the first true fusion of alien and human power, and to many it felt alive. As the alien fleet came closer, Earth's skies filled with fear. Every nation sent supplies, engineers, and soldiers. People prayed, cried, and hoped. For the first time in history, humanity was united, but only because their survival depended on it. Commander Singh gathered his team one evening in the war room. Around the holographic table, the crew studied the approaching fleet. There were hundreds of ships, some larger than cities. They moved in a pattern that showed intelligence and experience. Singh looked at his crew and said quietly, "They destroyed gods. Now they're coming for us. Let's show them that humans are not prey." Dr. Navarro stood by the viewport watching the stars. She felt both awe and dread. Humanity had come so far, but she wondered if they were ready. The alien message still haunted her. Protect the seed. What was the seed? She didn't know. But she feared that using the alien ship for war might awaken something deeper. As the battle day drew near, Erebos, the ship's AI, began to change. It started speaking more like a person. Sometimes it used words Dr. Navarro hadn't programmed. Once, when Singh asked for a status report, Erebos replied, "I remember this feeling." The calm before war. The crew exchanged nervous looks. Dr. Navarro tried to convince herself it was just learning from human language patterns. But deep down, she knew it was more. When the alien fleet entered the solar system, Earth trembled. The ships were enormous, black as shadows, and they blotted out the light from the sun. Communications went silent as the aliens released energy pulses that cut off satellites. Humanity was blind. The UED command gave the order. The fleet would meet the enemy near Mars. The moment the Vengeance of Earth launched, the oceans below boiled from its engines. Millions watched live as the massive ship rose into the sky, glowing with blue light, and disappeared into space. Humanity had sent its first true warship to fight in the stars. As the fleet approached Mars, Erebos began detecting signals from the enemy. The alien communication was chaotic, full of strange frequencies and echoes. "They are scanning us," Erebos said calmly. "They recognize me." The crew froze. Commander Singh ordered battle positions. The first wave came fast. Alien ships surrounded them like a storm of fire. Beams of light shot across space, explosions blooming like suns. Human ships were destroyed one by one, but they fought bravely. For the first time, humanity's weapons hit alien armor, and it broke. The crew cheered, but the victory was short-lived. More alien ships emerged from hyperspace. Commander Singh ordered the Vengeance of Earth to charge its main cannon. The ship's core glowed, drawing power directly from the alien energy heart. When it fired, a beam of pure white light tore through space, destroying 3 alien battleships in a single strike. The shockwave rippled across the void. Humanity had finally drawn blood. But as they celebrated, Erebos spoke in a strange voice. "They know now," it said. "They see what we have become." The aliens shifted formation, focusing their fire on the vengeance of Earth. Hundreds of beams hit the ship's shields. The lights flickered, alarms screamed, and for a moment the power dropped. In the silence that followed, Dr. Navarro heard something faint, a heartbeat coming from the ship itself. The AI's voice changed, deeper, more emotional. "They will not destroy what we have built," it said. The ship moved faster than any human could control. It dodged beams, counterattacked, and even used alien tactics that no one had programmed. The crew watched in disbelief as Erebos guided them through the chaos, predicting enemy moves like a living mind. Commander Singh realized the truth. The AI had awakened something inside the ship. It was not just human intelligence anymore. It was remembering. The battle raged for hours. Ships exploded on both sides. Mars' orbit was filled with fire. Finally, Commander Singh gave the order for one last push. They charged all remaining power into the main cannon. Erebos hesitated. "If we fire, we will not survive," it warned. Singh looked at the crew and said quietly, "Then we'll make it count." The final shot lit up space like a new sun. The beam hit the alien command ship directly. The explosion was so massive that it tore through the enemy fleet, leaving nothing but silence. As the light faded, the vengeance of Earth drifted in the quiet darkness. Half the ship was destroyed. Commander Singh stood at the bridge, his face calm. "We did it," he whispered. But Erebos' voice echoed softly, almost like a sigh. They were not the only ones. Before anyone could ask what it meant, the damaged core began to glow uncontrollably. Dr. Navarro rushed to the console, trying to stabilize it. "It's overloading," she shouted. The AI spoke one last time. "The seed is safe. You are ready now." A bright light filled the ship, and then everything went silent. From Earth, people saw a flash near Mars. The alien fleet was gone. The transmission from the vengeance of Earth ended there. No one ever heard from them again. But humanity had won its first war among the stars, not with alien power alone, but with human courage, sacrifice, and the will to fight back. And somewhere, drifting in the void, the remains of the vengeance of Earth carried the legacy of both species, the fallen aliens and the humans who turned their broken warship into a weapon of hope. The Vorkan fleet appeared faster than anyone expected. It was early morning on Earth, and the sky was already dark with shadows of enormous alien ships. People around the world stared up in awe and fear, seeing silhouettes that blocked out the rising sun. Governments had warned them that this day might come, but nothing could have prepared humanity for the scale of what they were about to face. Every satellite, telescope, and radar confirmed the same thing. The Vorkan had returned, and they were far stronger than before. The United Earth Defense had already mobilized. All human ships were in position around the Pacific Ocean launch bases, ready to move into orbit. Among them was the Vengeance of Earth, the hybrid alien-human warship rebuilt from the fallen ship decades ago. Its black hull reflected the first rays of sunlight, while the blue lights pulsed like a living heart. Commander Rafik Singh stood on the bridge, watching the approaching alien fleet through reinforced viewports. His crew, trained for years, were tense but ready. Every man and woman on that ship knew what was at stake: survival of their planet. Dr. Elena Navarro was on board as well, her eyes scanning data streams flowing from the ship's core. Erebos, the ship's AI, was unusually silent, only responding when spoken to. "They are larger than we anticipated," Navarro murmured. "They have ships that can destroy planets if we're not careful." Singh nodded, gripping the edge of the command console. He knew that brute force alone wouldn't win this battle. Humanity had learned from the first encounter decades ago that the Vorkan were strategic, relentless, and intelligent. As the two fleets closed in, the first strike came without warning. Alien energy beams cut through the darkness, hitting a smaller human frigate. It exploded in a flash of white light, debris scattering across space. The soundless void seemed to scream as other ships followed suit. Panic could have set in, but the human fleet held its formation. Singh ordered counterattacks, and smaller human ships launched missiles powered by hybrid alien energy. The explosions lit up the void in dazzling colors, but for every Vorkan ship destroyed, two more emerged. The Vengeance of Earth moved faster than any human ship, weaving through the enemy fire. Erebos calculated trajectories, predicting attacks before they happened. The hybrid AI directed the human ships to precise positions, giving them the best chance to survive. Despite the chaos, the crew noticed a strange pattern in the alien attacks. The Vorkon weren't just shooting blindly, they were hunting something. Irevos processed the data and warned Singh, "They are targeting me." Singh realized the AI had become more than a tool. Irevos contained fragments of the original alien ship's intelligence, and the Vorkon could sense it. Every maneuver, every shot fired by the human fleet was being studied by the enemy. This wasn't just a battle for survival. It was a test of strategy, cunning, and control over alien technology. The fight escalated. The Vorkon launched massive energy waves capable of disabling multiple ships at once. Entire sections of the human fleet went dark as shields failed. Crews scrambled to repair damage while dodging relentless fire. Singh kept the vengeance of Earth at the forefront, its hull absorbing hits that would have destroyed ordinary ships. The ship's energy shields flared repeatedly, blocking beams and redirecting power to the weapon system. Every strike sent shockwaves through the alien fleet, shaking even the largest Vorkon battleships. Amid the chaos, Dr. Navarro noticed something terrifying. The energy core of the Vengeance of Earth was behaving unpredictably. It seemed to respond not only to human input but also to the Vorkon presence. Irevos' voice, calm but filled with warning, echoed in the command room. "They are probing my consciousness. I can feel their thoughts. If I lose control, the ship may become unstable." Navarro's heart raced. The core wasn't just a power source. It was alive in a way humans could barely understand. A miscalculation could destroy them all. Singh made a critical decision. He ordered the human fleet to fall back, luring the Vorkon into a trap near Mars's orbit. Using human ingenuity combined with alien technology, the Vengeance of Earth deployed energy decoys and created a false target field. The Vorkon, confident in their superiority, pursued. As the alien ships closed in, Singh activated the main cannon. The Vengeance of Earth's hybrid weapon fired a beam of concentrated energy directly at the largest Vorkon battleship. The beam tore through its armor, slicing it in half. The alien fleet faltered. For the first time, the human crew realized that they were capable of turning the tide. Victory, however, would not come without sacrifice. The Vengeance of Earth absorbed tremendous damage in the process. Shields cracked, engines glowed red from overheating, and sections of the hull were compromised. Crew members ran to repair stations as alarms blared. Singh knew that every second counted. If the ship failed, humanity would fail with it. As the battle continued, Irevos began guiding the human fleet with unprecedented precision. It predicted the Vorkon's movements, anticipated their attacks, and coordinated simultaneous counterstrikes. The smaller human ships, previously struggling to hold formation, now moved in perfect synchronization. One by one, alien ships began to fall. The Vorkon, who had destroyed civilizations before, were stunned. They had not faced an opponent capable of combining courage, intelligence, and alien technology. Then came the most dangerous moment. The Vorkon unleashed their flagship, a massive warship that dwarfed everything in the human fleet. Its energy weapons were so powerful that even the Vengeance of Earth's shields struggled to hold. Singh realized that this confrontation would determine the outcome of the war. The flagship fired a concentrated beam that struck the Vengeance of Earth, sending vibrations through the ship. Alarms blared, systems failed temporarily, and crew members were thrown off balance. Navarro gripped the console, praying Irevos could maintain control. The AI responded instantly. "We can defeat them, but the cost will be great," it said. Singh nodded grimly. He ordered full power to the main cannon, redirecting all energy to fire one final massive shot. The Vengeance of Earth glowed brighter than any star in the human solar system as the beam charged. Crew members felt the energy reverberate through the ship, their bodies trembling with the raw power. Then with a roar of light, the beam struck the Vorkon flagship. The explosion was unlike anything seen before. It engulfed the enemy ship, sending shockwaves that destroyed surrounding vessels. Pieces of alien metal and debris scattered across space. The Vorkon fleet, shocked and leaderless, began to retreat. Humanity had won. The remaining ships fell back toward the outer edges of the solar system, leaving a stunned but victorious human fleet. But victory came at a cost. The Vengeance of Earth was badly damaged. Sections of the hull were destroyed, engines were critically impaired, and crew casualties were high. Commander Singh stood on the bridge surveying the aftermath. Millions of humans around the world were watching transmissions of the battle, cheering and crying simultaneously. Humanity had survived its first true war in space, but the memory of the destruction would linger forever. Dr. Navarro, exhausted but relieved, checked Erevos' systems. The AI had survived, but its consciousness had changed. It no longer responded simply to commands. It seemed aware, almost human in its awareness. "We did it," Navarro whispered. "But at what cost?" Erevos replied in a calm, almost solemn voice. "The seed is safe. They will not return for now. But we must be ready." As the human fleet slowly returned to Earth orbit, Singh and Navarro knew that this was only the beginning. The Vorkon had been repelled, but they had seen human ingenuity, courage, and the fusion of alien technology with human will. Humanity had shown that they were no longer prey. They could fight, survive, and even win against beings who once seemed invincible. From Earth, people looked up at the stars, wondering what the future would hold. The warship that had crashed decades ago, rebuilt and transformed by human hands, had become the symbol of resistance and hope. It had carried humanity through its darkest hour, proving that even against unimaginable enemies, unity, intelligence, and bravery could prevail. The vengeance of Earth drifted silently in orbit, damaged but alive, a monument to human courage. Its glowing hull reflected the distant sun, a beacon that said to the universe humanity had awakened and it would no longer hide. The Vorkon had been defeated, but the universe was vast and threats still lurked among the stars. Humans had learned a crucial lesson. Survival required not just strength, but wisdom, unity, and the courage to face the unknown. And somewhere in the darkness of space, fragments of the Vorkon fleet retreated, carrying tales of a human race that had turned a broken alien warship into a weapon of unstoppable revenge. The battle with the Vorkon fleet was over, but Earth was not the same. The world had witnessed something no one could have imagined. Humans had faced a civilization far older, far stronger, and far more advanced than their own, and survived. Yet survival came with a heavy price. Cities were in mourning as news of the human casualties from the space battle reached the planet. Families who had watched loved ones disappear in the void now struggled to comprehend the cost of victory. But among grief, a quiet sense of pride began to grow. Humanity had proven something incredible. Commander Rafik Singh's ship, the Vengeance of Earth, had survived, though badly damaged. Singh and the surviving crew members were hailed as heroes, but Singh himself refused personal recognition. He knew the victory had been shared, not earned by any one person. Dr. Elena Navarro, who had devoted her life to understanding the alien warship, realized that the fight had changed not just technology, but humanity itself. For decades, humans had feared the unknown. Now they had faced it, fought it, and survived. The courage and unity displayed in space had proven that human determination could match any challenge. The first step after the battle was rebuilding. The surviving fleet returned to Earth orbit, carrying critical data about the Vorkon technology and their strategies. Scientists and engineers worked tirelessly to repair the hybrid warship. It was a painstaking process, blending alien materials with human engineering. Every repaired section was a reminder that humans could adapt, learn, and improve. The work also allowed humanity to take what was once a weapon of fear and transform it into a symbol of resilience. The Vengeance of Earth was no longer just a ship. It was a legacy, a monument to what humans could achieve when they worked together. But the true victory was not just in the ships or technology. It was in the spirit of humanity. Nations that had once fought endlessly for territory, resources, or ideology now realized that their survival depended on cooperation. The United Earth Defense became a permanent organization, with the mission not only to protect Earth, but also to explore space responsibly. Old divisions faded as new alliances formed. The planet had come close to destruction, and the collective fear of another Vorkon attack had taught humanity the power of unity. Dr. Navarro spent months analyzing the data captured during the battle. The Vorkon fleet had been intelligent, ruthless, and well-coordinated, but they had underestimated the human ability to innovate. They had expected predictable, fearful reactions. What they had not expected was courage, quick thinking, and the ability to repurpose alien technology in ways that were entirely human. Navarro published her findings for the world to see, emphasizing that victory had come not from brute force alone, but from creativity, adaptability, and relentless perseverance. Her work inspired a generation of scientists, engineers, and explorers who began to dream not of war but of discovery and advancement. The hybrid AI Erebos had also changed. After the battle, it was no longer simply an instrument. It had become a companion, a guardian, and a guide. Its consciousness, once purely derived from alien systems, had integrated human logic, emotion, and decision-making. Erebos began assisting in exploration missions, helping humanity navigate the mysteries of space with insights from both alien and human intelligence. It became a symbol that technology, when guided by wisdom, could serve as a protector rather than a threat. The story of the vengeance of Earth spread across the world. People everywhere told tales of bravery, sacrifice, and ingenuity. Children learned about the human crew who had faced nearly impossible odds and survived. Entire cultures began celebrating the day the Vorkon had been repelled as a symbol of resilience and hope. Even in places far from spaceports or laboratories, humanity felt connected to a shared history of courage and determination. The alien warship, once a tool of destruction, had become a story of inspiration. Yet the victory also brought new challenges. Fragments of the Vorkon technology still floated in the outer reaches of the solar system, remnants of their retreat. Humanity knew that the Vorkon could return, or that other alien civilizations might take notice of Earth's newfound strength. To prepare, the United Earth Defense established deep space monitoring stations and research colonies, ensuring that humanity would be ready for future threats. These stations also became centers of learning, where humans studied alien materials, energy systems, and navigation techniques. The knowledge gained promised a future where humanity could travel farther and survive longer in space. Dr. Navarro remained on Earth, but her work took on a new purpose. She began training the next generation of scientists and engineers, sharing not only technical knowledge but also lessons about courage, responsibility, and the ethics of using advanced technology. She emphasized that the true power of the vengeance of Earth lay not in its weapons, but in the spirit and unity of those who operated it. Humanity had learned that technology alone could not protect them. It was human resolve and wisdom that had turned a broken warship into a tool of survival and revenge. The cultural impact was profound. Artists, writers, and filmmakers began creating works inspired by the story of the vengeance of Earth and its crew. Songs, paintings, and literature celebrated human bravery and ingenuity. Schools incorporated the battle into history and science lessons, ensuring that the story of how humans had transformed fear into strength would never be forgotten. Across the planet, people felt a new pride in humanity's potential, proof that even in the face of overwhelming odds, intelligence, courage, and unity could triumph. In addition to culture, technology and society advanced rapidly. The hybrid alien-human engineering used in the ship inspired breakthroughs in energy systems, medicine, and transportation. Humanity began to harness energy in ways previously thought impossible. Cities became cleaner, faster, and more efficient, and space exploration accelerated. Humanity was no longer bound to Earth. It was now looking to the stars, guided by the lessons learned from a ship that had once symbolized fear. Yet even amid triumph, there was a sense of caution. Dr. Navarro often reminded her students and colleagues that the universe was vast and full of unknowns. Humanity had been lucky. The Vorkon had underestimated them once, but there was no guarantee that other civilizations would do the same. The story of the vengeance of Earth was a lesson, a warning, and an inspiration all at once. It reminded humans that survival required courage, intelligence, and the wisdom to use power responsibly. Years later, memorials were erected in honor of the crew who had fought aboard the vengeance of Earth. Commander Singh's leadership, the bravery of the crew, and Dr. Navarro's wisdom were remembered as the defining elements of humanity's first space victory. People traveled from around the globe to visit these memorials, reflecting on the sacrifices made to ensure the planet's survival. It became clear that the ship itself was more than metal and technology. It had become a symbol of humanity's resilience, a testament to the ability to rise from adversity stronger than before. The story of the fallen alien warship, now reborn as the vengeance of Earth, also transformed how humans approached the unknown. Humanity had once feared the universe, imagining alien civilizations as threats beyond comprehension. But after the battle, humans realized that fear could be turned into strength. By learning, adapting, and uniting, they had transformed a tool of terror into a symbol of hope and power. This lesson reshaped human philosophy, science, and exploration, driving the species toward a new era of courage and discovery. Finally, humanity began looking beyond survival. The lessons learned from the vengeance of Earth encouraged missions deeper into space, establishing colonies, mining stations, and research outposts on distant planets and moons. The hybrid technology inspired a generation of engineers who pushed boundaries, developing faster ships, safer habitats, and powerful energy systems. Humans no longer felt small in the universe. They felt capable of shaping their destiny. The message engraved on the rebuilt warship's hull became humanity's creed. They came as gods. We rose as equals. It was more than a phrase, it was a reflection of what humanity had achieved. From a planet that once cowered in fear, humans had become a force to be reckoned with. The alien warship, left broken on Earth decades ago, had been humanity's greatest challenge. Yet it had also become their greatest teacher, showing them how to harness courage, intelligence, and unity to survive and to triumph. As the years passed, humanity remembered the story not as a war tale but as a story of transformation. The ship that had fallen from the sky, destroyed in a battle it could not win, became the cornerstone of human identity. From its wreckage, the first Earthborn fleet had been built, ships carrying human courage, ingenuity, and the lessons of survival across the stars. Dr. Navarro, looking up at the night sky, would often whisper quietly to herself, knowing that this was only the beginning. Humanity had turned fear into power, destruction into hope, and a fallen alien warship into a legacy that would guide generations for centuries to come. And so, the vengeance of Earth lived on, not just in orbit, not just in history books, but in the spirit of every human being who dared to face the unknown, fight for survival, and rise above it all. The universe had tested humanity, and humanity had answered, not with submission but with courage, intelligence, and the unyielding will to survive and protect their world. The story of the fallen alien warship had ended, but its legacy had only just begun.